Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for staying or arriving, depending which. Yeah, my name's Dan Jens. I'm country manager at Taboola. Hands up, who's hot first of all? Anybody? Yeah, good. So am I. So look, the fog of Cannes has cleared over the last couple of weeks. The rosé kind of induced fog of being in Cannes and a big celebration of advertising. But one thing that has remained, and that is this fact that all Cannes Grand Prix winners have one thing in common above all else, and that's timeliness. They tend to grab hold of moments, they grab hold of movements, world events, and they insert their brand into that conversation. So they do this because it helps them cut through the noise and it helps them capture attention. Humans are naturally biased towards paying attention to things that are relevant to them. One way to make sure your campaign is relevant is by attaching it to maybe a cultural movement, something that has already drawn attention and interest. Now, whether that's a grand scale of a Lions winning campaign, or standing behind a cause, or responding to a market trend, or maybe creating something seasonal, smart marketers do this every single day to cut through the noise and make their brand relevant in that moment. We're sharing 3 steps to ace creating a timely marketing campaign that captures attention and drives conversation. So firstly, audience. What is my audience interested in right now? Content. What can I contribute to the ongoing conversation? And thirdly, the environment. Where will my message be engaged with, and where will my audience engage with my message, I should say. We'll start about audience first. The key question to this is, what is my audience interested in right now? Step 1, of course, is having a clear idea of who your customers actually are. Traditionally, we as advertisers have relied on demographic data to create personas and target users based on assumptions as to maybe their gender, maybe their income, maybe their age, and what that says about their interests and their habits. But with all of these changes happening in the industry, is this really the best way now to identify your target audience? And I think we can agree for most offerings, the idea that only women or only people of a certain economic status or of a certain age would be interested in what you're offering, it's extremely reductionist, and frankly it can be a little bit insulting to be pigeonholed. What's more important is to figure out what your customers are interested in and how you find out about that, how they're experiencing things. There are a number of ways by which you can find this out. You can listen to social listening, for example. You can do customer interviews. One resource you may not have thought about is readership data. Why is readership data so important? Because you are what you read. You sign up to Facebook, for example, you have the option of entering your date of birth, your nationality, your interests. You might indicate the football team you support or that you like cats. And this is the kind of data that demographic data is based upon, but they're quite broad strokes. You're probably not going to enter into your Facebook profile that you're struggling with your relationship, or you're looking for a new job, or you're not sleeping at all because you've got a new baby. But you would read articles about these experiences. In addition to articles about cats and your favorite football players, etc., this is why readership data is much sharper, and it's more honest and a more current tool to identify, learn about your audience, and do it in a privacy-forward way. Now, readership data is aggregated from the behavior of hundreds of thousands of users, and as such, it can help you identify trending topics that are important to those audiences. This is a screenshot here. You can see this is a recent screenshot from a tool we have at Taboola called Newsroom. It allows us to track trending topics across our publishing network globally and in real time. So we know exactly what topics are dominating people's minds on any particular day, week or month. And as you see at the moment, coronavirus is bubbling up again, no surprise there. We have Wimbledon, Deborah Janes, we have cancer, we have airports, hospital. There's a lot in there that we can drill into quite deeply to see what topical content is being engaged with in the UK. Taking an example here of a finance brand, it could be talking about cost of living issues. So you can see what is trending at the moment in the open web environment are huge amounts of traffic spikes in areas like the cost of living or retirement savings. inflation, etc. No great surprise there at the moment, but we're able to drill into each of those particular areas for advertisers and then work out how we can talk to those people. So if I'm a finance brand, for example, how do I make use of the information that sits in front of us there? It brings me to the second point of the strategy, and that is, what is the second point of the strategy? Content, I beg your pardon. What can my brand contribute to the conversation? And the word here is definitely contribute. Okay. Brands want to capitalize on a cultural moment. They need to give before taking, and this can take many forms, but it is really important. So if you want to attach your brand to an ongoing conversation, but you don't provide any additional value, your attempt will be ignored at best, or be seen as, frankly, insulting or misguided at worst. So what you contribute can take many forms. Now, it could be humour. This is an example from the Wagatha Christie trial of a few weeks ago. Butterkiss got it absolutely right here, and they brought some humour into that conversation. It could be a contribution. So Britain Get Talking that was pitched out by ITV, running for mental health awareness. It provided a platform to be able to communicate and record voice messages according to be sent to others and to help combat loneliness. Now, this alone isn't going to solve the problem of kind of mental health, but it will create awareness, and it is giving something back. Another recent example would be the outdoor activity that Tesco ran for Ramadan. Really clever, understanding, empathizing with an audience, talking about empty plates in the daytime and full plates in the evening time. So really clever. Now, in the case of our finance brand, look at the examples here. It could respond to the cost of living, issues that its audience are reading about, by creating content that talks to the issues that are coming up and understands and what they are. A couple of examples here, as I say. And finally, tackle the environment. Where will your audience engage with the message? Actually, where will they be when the message you're putting out? So we say context is king, context is queen, but when brands chime in on an ongoing conversation, they might be talking about something really sensitive or controversial. In those situations, it's especially important to consider the effect that the environment your ad appears in and how it can be perceived by your audience. The environment should be brand safe, importantly, trustworthy. Now, a lot of advertisers currently, particularly, are shying away from news content, so they're fearing brand safety issues. But think about your campaign. If you are talking about current events or ongoing social or cultural issues, what better and more relevant areas and contextually relevant areas where there could be one of those issues already being discussed, so you can align with that brand. Research shows anyway that advertisers concerning advertising around news content are largely unfounded. Advertising on a trusted news site can actually result in increased CTR, higher brand trust, and higher trust in the ad itself. And of course, brand safety is still really important despite that. So advertisers, yes, make sure you're working with the right providers that can double up your appropriate brand safety messages and work with the likes of IAS or Double Verify to take a really thoughtful stance on what you're putting across and how it's being received and what you are adjacent to. This allows your brand to take advantage of contextually relevant, trusted news environments while avoiding adjacency potentially to anything that's conflicting with your brand or that might endanger your brand. Another advantage of using advertising against news or with news is the content in general, is that you place your ads around contextually relevant environments. For example, ABC here have done a banking ads with the headline, 5 key tips to lower your cost of living. Now that means you could place these all around articles that talk very much about those cost of living issues and those challenges, and you could tailor your messaging, tailor your content to make sure you're talking in the right tone, at the right time, in the right environment. Contextually relevant ads do capture more attention, they do the targeting work for you, and they provide a better user experience. So a summary and wrap up, you are what you read. Be really careful to understand that people are attuned to what they're reading in that real time. Make sure you're giving before taking, make sure that you're relevant to the audience and you're giving them something back, and not simply being perceived as piggybacking on a movement or a cultural conversation. And context is absolutely key. Be sure you are in the right environment for the advertiser to work and the consumer to receive it properly. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks so much.